Today, I want to talk about something I think that's really important, and that is that we live in an increasingly self-centered world. We live in a situation where more and more people are selfish. They're all about themselves, taking care of themselves or just them and their family. Not a whole lot of people giving nowadays. And it seems like it's a trend that's just been going on and on. And as we go further through time, more and more people are just self-centered and to themselves. Part of this has to do with social media. Part of this has to do with our cell phones, our devices, where we're constantly just looking at these devices and we're seeing how the rest of the world kind of plays out, but we're not as active in our own world. And so there is a way to actually benefit from this ongoing self-centeredness. I had this revelation the other day. I was just thinking about how things are really self-centered and selfish. And I thought, the person who has power in that situation and the person who has more control in that situation is the person who is less self-centered. In other words, someone who is selfless, someone who is more caring, and someone who's more giving. Because that person ends up being elevated by the people who are all about themselves. When you're the one giving and other people are the ones receiving, you position yourself in an elevated position. Now, that's an important thing to understand, but it's also important to understand that you want to use that wisely and responsibly. You don't want to be using it for ill or for evil, right? But as I was thinking about this, I was thinking, well, this is why the people and the companies that give more value, that give more information for free, that do things like I'm doing here, the Daily Hustle, every day, giving out good, valuable information from my 30 plus years in business and from years of being on an infomercial and being successful in many different ways, those people are going to be elevated because the average person is too busy thinking about themselves and not really going out of themselves to give, to be selfless. So what ends up happening in a weird way, in a weird ironic way, is the person who is selfless ends up being elevated, whereas the people who are selfish and self-centered feel like, oh, that person is weak because they're giving away too much stuff. They should be charging for it. And it was interesting because I posted on my personal Facebook page the other day something about how I'm enjoying having a passive income from online teaching, how much I enjoy online teaching, and if you want some help with it, I'll be happy to help you with it. I even gave away some free YouTube videos about online teaching that are actually previews of my courses. And my whole goal was just to let people know, hey, this is something really cool. In that process, I had a friend of mine that I was talking to this friend of mine, and she asked me, she goes, hey, are you associated with that company, Udemy, or do you get like a referral fee or anything like that? And I said, no, I was just sharing that because it's something that's changed my life. It's been amazing, and I want other people to know about it. And that's a good example of being selfless, being more caring and more giving. And in the process, you gain points, so to speak. You gain in credibility, you gain in elevation of status, you gain in the ability to be seen as an authority. And if you're doing any kind of brand marketing or any kind of outbound video or blogging or anything like that to promote whatever it is that you're promoting online, that is where your social equity comes from. That's where the growth in social equity, in audience, in your tribe, so to speak, that's where that's going to come from. So be aware of that and use that to your advantage. Again, use it for good and not for ill, but that's today's Daily Hustle tip. By becoming more selfless, you end up gaining so much more.